I will not tolerate such behavior. If you want to go out now. But if you stand again, I'll order you out. Make your mind up, and I shall come back. Breaking. Britain's political system has just crossed a point of no return. At exactly 2:47 p.m. this afternoon, Nigel Farage detonated what many insiders are already calling the most devastating parliamentary maneuver in modern British history. What unfolded next did not merely rattle Westminster, it sent shockwaves across Europe and North America, instantly rewriting the future of British politics. Any remaining illusion that Labour could survive the next general election collapsed in real time. This wasn't theater. This wasn't routine opposition noise. This was the moment the establishment cracked. Just hours ago, Farage rose inside the House of Commons and invoked Standing Order 24, a rarely used parliamentary weapon that forces an immediate emergency debate on an issue deemed to be of urgent national importance. The chamber froze. Labour MPs didn't shout. They didn't protest. They stood motionless, because Farage's motion wasn't about policy, budgets, or partisan sparring. His words were precise, calculated, and lethal. I move that this House debate the Prime Minister's fitness to govern, Farage declared, in light of credible evidence suggesting he knowingly misled Parliament regarding foreign interference in British immigration policy. The word knowingly hung in the air like poison. Prime Minister Keir Starmer didn't retreat. He surged to his feet and in doing so, committed what seasoned observers now describe as the single worst tactical mistake of his career. His face flushed. His voice shook. Press gallery reporters later confirmed he was visibly trembling with rage. The honorable gentleman from Clacton, Starmer snapped, has built his career on conspiracy theories and reckless fantasies. He has no evidence because no evidence exists. This is a desperate stunt from a desperate man leading a party that will never govern Britain. The attack was vicious, personal, and absolute. Farage didn't blink. He stood calmly, a manila folder in hand, almost smiling. Mr. Speaker, Farage replied evenly, I possess documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests that tell a very different story. He paused. Perhaps the Prime Minister would like to explain why his office met with European Union migration officials 17 times in 6 months, why those meetings were never disclosed, and why leaked emails show discussions of migration quotas that were never announced to the British people. The chamber erupted. Conservative MPs roared. Labour backbenches went silent. Minutes later, the Speaker approved the emergency debate. At 3:12 p.m., the gavel fell. Starmer had walked straight into a trap, but what followed outside Parliament made this crisis far more dangerous. While politicians screamed inside Westminster, ordinary Britons were breaking outside it. Yesterday morning, Margaret Wilson, a 71-year-old widow from Sunderland, stood outside a food bank. Her husband served in the Falklands. She spent 38 years working as an NHS nurse. Now she must choose between heating and eating. I gave everything to this country, she said through tears, and now I'm invisible. At the same time, leaked Home Office figures show illegal migrants being housed in heated hotels, receiving full medical care, legal aid, mobile phones, and cash allowances at a cost exceeding £7 million per day. British veterans sleep on London streets, pensioners freeze in their homes, and the state pays for luxury accommodation for those who arrived illegally. A poll released this morning reveals that 68% of Britons believe the government prioritizes appearing compassionate to foreigners over protecting its own citizens. That is no longer opinion, it is consensus, and the numbers are brutal. Government data shows 127,000 pensioners applied for winter fuel assistance last month alone, a 340% increase year on year. Yet quietly, the Home Office approved a £180 million hotel contract for migrant housing, signed at 11:47 p.m. to avoid scrutiny. Even lifelong Labour voters are walking away. I'm done, said John Patterson, a retired steelworker from Sheffield who voted Labour since 1979. They forgot who they represent. Then the unthinkable happened. At 4:23 p.m., as the emergency debate raged, King Charles broke 70 years of royal protocol. At a Buckingham Palace reception, the king went off script. The strength of our democracy, he said gravely, depends on truth, transparency, and sacred trust. When that trust is compromised, the foundations of our constitutional monarchy are placed at risk. Those words were never approved. Constitutional scholars immediately understood the signal. This wasn't symbolism, it was a warning. Markets reacted instantly. The pound fell 1.8%. 2.3 billion pounds was wiped off the FTSE 100. Britain suddenly looked unstable. But the real implosion was happening inside Labour. By early evening, the party was eating itself alive. Leaked WhatsApp messages showed MPs using words like finished, catastrophic, and leadership challenge. 7 junior ministers requested emergency meetings, not about policy, but succession. Starmer trended globally with 3.2 million posts. Street protests erupted across Manchester, Birmingham, and Newcastle, with thousands of ordinary citizens waving Union Jacks and demanding accountability. International humiliation followed. France questioned Britain's reliability. Brussels expressed concern. Washington quietly warned that stability matters. Inside Number 10, panic ruled. Cabinet ministers shouted in corridors. Resignation letters were drafted. Contingency plans were activated. Protocols not used since the 1970s. And then came the revelation. Leaked documents suggest Starmer's office was briefed by EU migration officials as early as March. While publicly denying that any agreements existed, one internal email allegedly advised keeping discussions confidential. If Parliament was knowingly misled, this isn't a scandal. It's constitutional collapse. Even more devastating, the FOI requests weren't filed by politicians, but by a 68-year-old retired civil servant from Nottingham. One man, one request, one government exposed. Farage, calm and composed, summed it up perfectly. We don't need to attack Keir. He's doing that himself. Polls now show Reform UK leading nationally. A political earthquake. A no-confidence motion is coming. The king may yet intervene, and Britain is watching its old political order collapse in real time.